IVM.
Who owns you? Your body? Your mind? The year is 1958 and Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, poet, member of parliament, makes a speech in parliament that makes a strong case, not for poetry but for copyright. Do you copy me? Hello and welcome to the show, The Longest Constitution. My name is Priya Mirza, and in each episode of this podcast, we look closely at what the Constitution guarantees us. We have been looking at how women's reproductive autonomy has been recognized by expanding the constitutional right granted under Article 21 of our Constitution to recognize that women can abstain from having sex, use contraception, opt to abort a fetus, and none of this is hi, toba, etc. It's constitutional, okay? So in today's episode, we are looking at our mind, bodies, what we do with it, and who decides that. What's valuable and what's not, what is recognized and what's not. And that recognition is often the first step towards any form of remuneration. And just to remind ourselves, motherhood is of many kinds. Today, we're looking at motherhood as work. So in the last episode, we looked at a judgment which said that women aren't machines and babies aren't products. Remember? Well, they are being produced. So why aren't they products? And our first story today, for the first time, is about a baby. Okay, why am I getting excited? It's just a baby. And by the way, the story is about production, reproduction, passports, ownership, abandoning, and claiming. Baby Manji Yamada was birthed by an Indian surrogate mother. So, two Japanese nationals, Yuki Yamada and Ukufumi Yamada, came to India in 2007. They chose a surrogate mother in Anand, Gujarat, and drew up a contract. However, by the time the baby was born, the Mia Biwi, the husband and wife, had a discord, and the biological father's visa had expired, and he wasn't in India. So the question arose, what's going to happen to this cute little product? Okay, a little bit of history now. Commercial surrogacy was legalized in India in 2002, not through a law, but through the ICMR rules, that's the Indian Council of Medical Research, and this allowed transnational commercial surrogacy. And by the early 2000s, Anand, a small town in Gujarat, emerged as the hub of commercial surrogacy industry, the production of babies. India's surrogacy business was estimated to be worth more than 400 million a year. Wow. Giving options to, by the way, mostly married women, often with their own children, opting to rent their wombs for up to 1 lakh, and sometimes more and sometimes less. But what is surrogacy? Surrogate means a substitute. And there are two types of surrogacy. The first, called traditional surrogacy, which involves the surrogate being artificially inseminated with the biological father's seminal fluid. Seminal, which means related to semen. But the word seminal, as you probably already know, also means great, hugely influential, path-breaking. I mean, it's so typical of a language to celebrate a man's biological ejections. So thank you for listening to my uterine podcast. The second term, gestational surrogacy, is also what is called IVF. You must have seen several hoardings in which the egg of the intended mother of an anonymous donor is fertilized with the seminal fluid, and the embryo is transferred to the surrogate's uterus. And you could read more about this in the links below, but the point here is that among the many forms of motherhood, surrogacy is one of them, of a woman using her body to reproduce, birthing, nurturing, laboring. Yes, it is laborious and it is labor. Anyway, let's get back to Dinkar. What was Dinkar talking about in Parliament, and what did he want to protect? He wanted to protect his intellectual products. His books. As a writer, Ramdhari Singh Dinkar argued in Parliament at a time when the government was dismantling the patent system for pressure for a strong copyright law, which would protect artistic works for being used or duplicated and get royalty from that. That's what these seminal men wanted. Our second story today is about a woman who died. Sorry, today is not a very cheerful day. Okay, but her death does illuminate certain things. First of all, how she died. She died in an accident. Kamalamal was traveling in a bus which had an accident. She had severe injuries and died. After her death, her husband needed someone to fill in all the chores she was doing before she died. Like cooking, cleaning, washing, tending to the children. But following her death, he now hired help and actually had to pay a domestic help, a cook, to do this in this case. So her husband filed for compensation. And the Motor Vehicles Act 1988, given the number of vehicles and those who are killed and disabled in road accidents, provides for compensation for rash and negligent driving. And that's what he applied for, that he and his 4 children suffered a personal loss. And now he had to pay for a cook. So if compensation for a mother and housewife is to be sought, the court would have to think of what work do women do at home. And can a mother and a wife be replaced by a paid cook? So some work can be quantifiable and fungible. So one can actually have a surrogate for a few dimensions of housework. But can one have a substitute for everything a woman does? Care work, domestic work, emotional work. In a landmark Supreme Court judgment in 2010, the court took note of the range of these what it called services, which are, to quote, performed selflessly day and night. And the court noted that mums and wives are not just reproducing but also producing the cultural fabric of our nation. So, to quote from a judgment, one must remember that in Indian society, a mother not only serves her children, but she is also a teacher, guide, mentor, and philosopher for them. A mother inculcates good habits in her children. It is the mother who teaches her children what is good and what is bad. These are moral values which can be taught by a mother only and no one else. A mother works with selfless devotion. She has no hours of work. That's true. She can be the first person to get up in the morning in the house and can be the last person to go to bed. The contribution of a mother, in fact, can never be converted into rupees and paise. Okay, we cool people call that UDCW, unpaid domestic and care work. Anyway, what happened in Parliament in the 1950s? Ramdhari Singh Dinkar, who would later be awarded the Sahitya Akademi Award, pushed for a strong copyright law because he argued, to quote, all authors are highly impractical. The more practical he becomes, the less creative he gets. Oh, right, because all the practical work is being done by, guess who? And he was supported by the writers. In 1957, India passed the Copyright Act in favor of the rights of authors and poets. And what happened to Baby Yamada? In Baby Manji Yamada versus Union of India 2008, the Supreme Court observed, oh, there's actually no law on commercial surrogacy. That's what it noted. Yeah, it did. And directed the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights to look into the matter. But what happened to the baby? Okay, the father was given custody of the baby and her grandmother took her to Japan. Chalo, that's nice. But in 2013, India prohibited transnational commercial surrogacy, prohibiting women from using their body to earn money from foreign couples. It was the beginning of the Sanskari Karan of surrogacy. Sounds familiar? Let's see. It's a woman and she's making money by using her body for non-Indians. Hi Ray, roko, is waqt roko. Stop it right now. Okay, so today's takeaway is labor. It comes in many forms: intellectual, physical, emotional, affective. Some are celebrated, like writers and musicians. But what about others? Do women have to die for recognition of the work they do? That's the question. In the next episode, we will look at surrogacy, labor, and gender at the workplace. You can follow me on Twitter, that's at FundamentallyP, or my Instagram handle given in the description below. Till then, stay safe. This is me, Priya Mirza, signing out.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Advertising is Dead, Varun talks to Hitesh Dhingra, founder of The Man Company. They take a look at how the male grooming industry has evolved. On The Longest Constitution, Priya explores the states of women's rights with respect to their bodies, contraception, and abortion. On Audio Gyan, Kedar meets user researcher Dharmesh Ba. They talk about the significance that research and insight bring to an organization. On the Musafir Stories, it's all about Hyderabad. Saif and Faiza talk to Yunus Lasania, curator of the Hyderabad History Project and the Beyond Charminar podcast. And on IVM Live, Santriksh and Zalak are joined by the hosts of Big Talk About Tiny Humans, Devi Shobha and Dr. Meghna. They rate Bollywood parent characters in a fun game. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. The word of mouth really helps. Also, don't forget to rate us on whatever platform you're listening to us and check us out on YouTube. You can check a list of all our channels at ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Bank of Baroda and HDFC Life Insurance. Thank you so much for making this possible.
You're the people pleaser, right? Oh, yes. Or then desperately seeking the one? Oh, wait, you're the one who doesn't think they're ever good enough. Oh. So much drama. And for what? Is it doing you any good? Listen to me. I'm Chetna, your favorite positive action coach. Yes, I'm the one who has been dropping all those truth bombs on every episode. Oh, no. And it's time you learn to say no to drama. That's also what my podcast is called. And a new episode is out every Monday and Wednesday on the IVM Podcast app, website, as well as all major podcasting platforms.